From the moment we walked into the ASUS suite at CES 2018, something caught our eyes. Standing in one corner was a grouping of three pretty standard ROG monitors that didn't have any visible bezels between them. It looked amazing, to be honest, and we needed to see and understand how that was accomplished. It turns out that ASUS had a pretty simple setup to achieve the illusion of one seamless gaming panel. But before we get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors for CES 2018, Fantex, Corsair, and Cooler Master. Without them, the show coverage would not have been possible. So I mentioned that the setup here is actually easy, and that's because ASUS hasn't created any type of brand new technology or anything. Instead, they're using three simple adapters that clip onto the edge of their existing monitors. Each of those has a pair of integrated PMMA acrylic panels to refract light from the monitors back towards the viewer. Basically, each of the two adapters in this kit is installed between the left/right and center monitors at an optimal 130 degrees. This allows center bezels to disappear. There are some small hiccups that needs to be addressed too, since this is pretty much a passive mirror-like setup. The displays aren't extended, but rather whatever appears on leftmost and rightmost sides of the center monitor is repeated. The refraction takes on a slight perspective view that makes it look like a continual image that meshes well into the side monitors. However, when there's a menu or readout on screen in one of the corners, that could be refracted too, depending on its positioning relative to the screen's edge. It looks pretty odd in some situations, particularly when there's an ammo counter or speed indicator too close to the monitor's side. The thickness of the plastic also causes a slight shadow effect that can be more of a visual issue than bezels. We were told that ASUS is actually in the process of optimizing the PMMA production process in an effort to reduce that effect. If they can do that, it will be absolutely amazing. Installation is pretty easy though, since the reflectors are made of a flexible plastic and so are the two top and bottom clamps. I did realize that they have to be installed in a specific direction though, since installing them upside down leads to an odd looking image recreation. Given the fact that this is a proof of concept which isn't ready for production yet, the amount of options for this bezel-free kit are limited to a single monitor, the PG258Q. If the response of this version is positive enough, in the future ASUS plans on launching kits that are compatible with other sizes and even other vendors' products as well. Plans for launch for the bezel-free kit aren't firm yet as of right now, but ASUS expects a slightly more refined version in time for Computex and mass production starting in the second half of 2018. Regardless of time frame though, the target price is under $100 right now. The other item we saw both at ASUS and Nvidia was the new big format gaming displays from ASUS, HP Omen, and Acer. This is an Nvidia sponsored project which represents a combination of most of their current generation display technologies into one epic display. Many people have asked for better 30-inch and larger gaming monitors, but this one turns the dial to 11 more. All of the BFGD monitors use the same massive 4K 65-inch AUO panel, which makes the display some of the largest around outside the digital signage market. Now, you might be wondering why Nvidia and their partners are calling this a display or a monitor rather than a UHD TV, and there's a simple reason behind that. Unlike TVs, this thing doesn't have a built-in tuner, so they simply can't call it a television, but that doesn't stop it from being one beautiful looking gaming device. So what makes this thing so special? Even though it will never likely be installed on a desk, it could be considered the father of all other gaming monitors. The 4K 65-inch panel uses IPS technology, has a 120Hz refresh rate, supports HDR, DCI-P3 color space, and includes a quantum dot film for the ultimate in-color reproduction. Basically, it's a massive monitor that's ready for the future of gaming, since not all that many games support its higher level features like HDR. With that being said, there are a few other goodies thrown into this big format gaming display as well. There's a fully integrated Shield TV console with access to features like a full Android operating system, game stream, and the ability to stream 4K content from Netflix, Amazon, and other services. Nvidia has also added in a G-Sync module for a good measure. At this point, the BFGDs were introduced at CES in order to gauge response before a decision was made to enter production. It seems like the reception has been extremely positive, so Nvidia is looking into enabling their partners to start production sometime in late 2018. With that in mind, pricing hasn't been announced yet, but I expect them to be unbelievably expensive given the flagship status coupled with the price of current 30-inch plus G-Sync enabled gaming displays. So let us know what you think. Is the relatively inexpensive bezel-free kit or big format gaming display of more interest to you? Also, stay tuned for more coverage from CES 2018. I'm Ibra with HardwareCanucks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.